The NHRA, the world's largest motorsport sanctioning body, showcasing speeds in excess of 280 miles per hour and covering the quarter-mile distance in less than 5 seconds. Winston Championship Drag Racing from the NHRA. The NHRA Winston Drag Racing Series, 16 races throughout the year, encompassing racetracks in both the United States and Canada. The most recent event was held at Sears Point International Raceway, the inaugural Motorcraft Ford California Nationals. There, Joe Amato took his second Top Fuel victory in a row when he defeated Dick LaHaye. The performance of both outstanding. Amato, a 5:17 elapsed time. LaHaye, a 5:18. In funny car eliminator, Mark Oswald pulled out a narrow victory over Don Prudhomme. Again, a close race, with Oswald winning with a 5.51 second elapsed time. Prudhomme just 1/100th of a second slower at a 5:52. The surprising Harry Scribner won his first ever NHRA Winston Drag Racing National event, taking the Pro Stock title against Don Beverly. The two drivers turned identical 7.49 second elapsed time, with Scribner's starting line advantage the margin of victory. Now the Winston Trail heads north for yet another new event on the NHRA calendar, the Performance Corners Seafair Nationals. Hello, everybody. I'm Dave McClelland, and welcome to Seattle International Raceway. More so than at any other event thus far this season, performance is so much of the story here at SIR. For only the second time in history, all three national records for elapsed time have been broken in the three professional categories. In Top Fuel, Darrell Gwynn gave himself the ultimate birthday present, a new Top Fuel record. Darrell ran a 5.05 second elapsed time to move into the record books. After the performance standard was established, the Miami, Florida driver was understandably elated.
Well, that just shows you right here today how humbling this sport of drag racing really is. For 3 races in a row, I couldn't hit my tail with both hands, and here we are, #1 qualifier right now, but we found our problem about an hour ago and just had changed so many things in the last 3 races that we didn't know what to go back to. But the air conditions here at the inaugural race, I'm real proud to be here and be a part of this whole thing.
Darrell Gwynn obviously regaining the performance that has carried him to 3 national event victories earlier this season. The dominant driver in funny car eliminator at this stage of the season is Don Prudhomme. 2 times the winner in 3 final round appearances this year. Prudhomme set the new mark at 5.30 seconds. Somewhat surprisingly, he was not as happy a man as you might expect.
Or tickled to death. Anytime you run like that, you know, it's very, very hard. And it wasn't a perfect run either. The car shook a little bit and so on out there. So see if we can straighten out and run a little better.
Completing the record-shattering trio of professional drivers is Bob Glidden, who carried our onboard camera to a new Pro Stock National ET record of 7.31 seconds. So the question going around Seattle International Raceway is, why are they going so fast? For at least part of that answer, let's turn to my good friend and co-host, Steve Evans. Steve, tell me, why do you think they're running this quick?
Beautiful, isn't it, Dave? The forest down here at the end of Seattle International Raceway. Now, most people see these as trees. Well, I see them as long, tall, skinny superchargers. Now, I haven't gone completely over the edge. Remember that trees and all vegetation create oxygen. People thrive on it, and so do engines. Now, the racers during the record-breaking qualifying were enjoying kind of a Mother Nature tune-up. First of all of this oxygen. Secondly, this is sea level in altitude. Thirdly, very little humidity. Remember, humidity is moisture, water. It displaces air. And lastly, it has been very cool. The air is not preheated before it gets to that engine. Now, most of those things aren't going to change. Humidity is rare in the Northwest. The trees certainly are not going to quit on us, and the altitude is not going to change. But the temperature is predicted to go up. If that happens, the engines will suffer a little bit, and maybe even the racetrack. Everyone will have to keep their eye on the heat factor.
Thanks, Steve. After the California Nationals at Sears Point, Joe Amato continues to hold the lead in the Winston Drag Racing Championship in Top Fuel Eliminator. In Funny Car, Mark Oswald continues to head the pack. Kenny Bernstein in the number 2 spot. And in Pro Stock Eliminator, it is the Chevy Beretta of Bruce Allen holding a very slim lead over the Ford of Bob Glidden. Now at Seattle International Raceway, it's round number 2 of Top Fuel Eliminator. Glenn Mikers driving the CVN, the Cable Value Network special, owned by Dennis Forcell, against Frank Bradley at the wheel of the Earl Newman Agricultural Enterprises special. Bradley has had considerable problems over the last several races, including, to our count, at least 3 totally destroyed race engines. Here, though, Bradley has qualified well in the number 8 spot with a 5:21. He defeated Terry Kapp in the first round, while Glenn Mikers was the number 12 qualifier with a 5.31 second elapsed time. By virtue of that qualifying run, Mikers had to race Joe Amato, who was the number 4 qualifier with a brilliant 5.11. As we look back at that first round race, Amato was in the near lane, Mikers was in the far lane, and mechanical problems set in for Joe Amato. Steve had a chance to talk to him.
Well, I don't have to tell Joe Amato, with the points chase as close as it is, even though you're on top of it, Joe, to go out in the first round, boy, that hurts.
Yeah, it's tough, Steve, when you lose first round. You know, something in the drivetrain just unloaded and it broke.
Let me ask you something. This is a high-gear car like Gene Snow's. Could a track this good be hard on a high-gear car?
Well, it's the parts are really not strong enough to do what we're doing. We have to really probably go back to the drawing board and make some parts a little bit better.
The car in the near lane could relate to broken parts. That is Frank Bradley. Here he is now in round number 2, racing against Glenn Mikers. The burnouts are completed, and both drivers now bringing their cars to the starting line. Inching into the staging beams, indicating they are set. The tree goes green. And Bradley goes up in smoke. Mikers loses an engine, and Bradley gets a brace. He advances into the semifinals with a relatively slow 592 at 191 miles an hour. As we look again, you can see Bradley lost traction. Now look at Mikers' car. The supercharger explodes. He lost power, and Bradley won the race. On the starting line, a nod of the head and a thumbs up from Shirley Muldowney. A strong burnout by Shirley Muldowney as she heats those huge tires. The engine coming to life now for Gene Snow. Let's go to the far end of the racetrack where Steve Evans is with Frank Bradley.
If you saw our show from Sears Point in the California Nationals, you know this man, Frank Bradley, was having all the bad luck for everybody. It appears to have turned a little bit, Frank.
Well, yeah, we were having some bad luck, but it was all self-inflicted. It's just trying to put too much fuel in it, so we changed some more stuff around and just kind of tippy-toed into this deal, you know, trying to get down the racetrack.
What happened on that run?
Smoked tires.
No engine problems like you've been suffering?
No, we've been messing with the clutch quite a bit and got a little carried away, it looks like.
Backing up after his burnout, Gene Snow. That car uses the high gear only direct drive system similar to Joe Amato. Snow qualified very well in the number 2 spot at a 5:06 and defeated Ray Stutz in first round racing. Shirley Muldowney, running the best she has in several years, qualified number 6 with a 5:15 and defeated Jack Ostrander in the first round. Obviously, nobody terribly concerned about a little bit of moisture on the racetrack for Shirley as she is approaching the starting line under the direction of her crew chief, Ron Tobler. Shirley's in the far lane. Gene Snow, with the lane choice, selected the near lane of the racetrack. A good start. And Gene Snow drives away to victory with a great elapsed time, 5.10 at 273 miles an hour. The 1988 NHRA Performance Corner Seafair Nationals are being brought to you by Goodyear Eagle Tires. Goodyear, because there really is a difference. And by Fram Bendix Auto Life, which are all quality products of Allied Automotive. And by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. More top